The Writers' Workshop has been in existence since 1937, and I decided to join because my very dear friend Margaret said, "You have to write a book about this woman, this friend, mutual friend of ours. She has a story to tell." And I was like, she has a story to tell? I was surprised. What happened was Margaret declared I had to tell this story, and then she died. Wow. 6 months later, she was gone. So Vivian Rose is the book. I've been working, that is only the working title, and I've been working on it for quite some time. So it tells the story of this young woman and how they had to move from town to town because her father misbehaved. He was a pedophile, and she tried to hold her head up in public, but it was very difficult. And then I have another book about women who try to overcome terrible things in their lives. So that's kind of like the genre that I'm writing. I like to see women move forward. The workshop really helped me clear the path. If I would talk about a topic that was, well, kind of cute, but it wasn't relevant to the story path, they would say, "You have to take that out." So I would. I really appreciate their advice. Many of them, like Mary Boyd, have been there for, she's been there 32 years. And Mary is very good at looking at the story arc, yeah, and looking at the characters. If they were, your character should not say that, or your character is much better than that. So she's really good, and all of them have something to offer. Yeah. Well, the group is really interesting because everybody comes from a different background, and there's stories to tell. There's one thing that I like, and that is I found out I like to be read to. It's almost like being a child again. And with some people, like our friend Linda Gale, you get a new chapter every week, and it's just a delight as you see their story progress. No, we want to hear stories. We want to hear from different backgrounds. We welcome them all. Oh, foolish me, I didn't realize that all of our members of the Minneapolis Writers' Workshop have to be visual. They have to see things in their mind in order to write about them. A person who writes music would probably not be as good of a writer as somebody who's done interiors, or, do you know what I mean? I mean, they have the visual mind. I was an on-air voice with the Johnson Space Center in Houston. So I did writing for a job. I also did advertising. I also worked on scripts to promote various companies like Toyota or Mattel. And it was fascinating because every time I would have to jump into a different industry and learn all about them, from the president to the workers to the marketing people, and find out how they moved their product and what was the inspiration for the next year for corporate sales. And that's how my writing was, and that's how I kind of took the leap out of design and went into writing. American homes right now, people are watching too much TV. And the TV, I'm curious if they are getting a deal on gray and white paint. with a little bit of black paint. People are trying to be like everybody else. You seldom go into homes where the walls are pink, orange, yellow, purple. America, wake up. We've never had so many colors at our access, and it's really wonderful what people can do. I mean, the opportunity is there. Husband and I have done 4 houses together. We did one in Galveston, one in Houston, and 2 in Minneapolis. I also have worked on restaurants with him. So if you go to a Doolittle's or like Lord Fletcher's is one. And you go inside and you see the different kinds of artwork on the walls and antiques. That's some of my work.
So
he designs a restaurant. The interior designer will come in, and then I find the art, which is kind of like he made the cake, the interior designer puts on the frosting, and I do the candles.
Oh,
yeah. And the wonderful thing about putting unusual pictures or sculptures or antiques on the wall of a restaurant is when you have a difficult conversation with somebody, you can always go, oh, what's that? That looks like a fishing license. When is it from? It's from 1939. That's a fishing net. That's a canoe. That one isn't a canoe. That's a kayak. You know, so you have all of these conversations when things get difficult, if you're talking about something difficult. And also it makes it interesting for people to walk around throughout the restaurant. The Doolittle's restaurants have humorous bathrooms. So you'll just have to go to a Doolittle's and see what I mean. They also have a humorous bathroom in Pazzaluna, which actually made a book. The pictures were funny enough that they thought it should be in a book. So very interesting. And when you work with restaurants, you work with the owner, the general manager, the head chef, the architect, and the interior designer. And everybody has their own unique ideas on what should be on the walls and what should be. So it's a lot of compromise. Nowadays, it's much easier to do. In the 90s, when I was doing it a whole lot, we often had problems because I would have to drive everywhere to find things, take a photograph, have it developed, and then present it on a card to all of these people, and then go out and buy it. But when you buy antiques, they might not be there the next day when you go to pick it up.